The first thing a lot of people want to know when they get into trading is how long until I start making money? How long until I start seeing consistent profits? How long did it take you? How do you trade? All these different questions. So I got a question like that recently. So I thought I'd make a video about this. Y'all know I'm a transparent guy. I'm going to keep it straight up, give you the real, give you the raw. And, you do what you want with it. Hopefully you take it and be successful. And yeah, I'm going to give you some real stuff, man. If you're new to the channel, my name is James Strong. I make videos about trading the futures market, investing in the stock market, and personal finances. We trade to grow our capital. We invest to build long-term wealth. And none of that's possible without having good personal finances. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So I recently got this question from a comment. So I was like, man, this would be a good video. And I thought I'd make a video on it just to show you guys how I got started, how I became profitable consistently, not just make money, and then how long it took me as well. And these are things that I want to know early on in my journey, especially from somebody who's authentic and real. And, I pride myself on just keeping it 100 with you. Like, just being real. I don't get nothing from this. Just want to help as many people as possible. That's pretty much it. So how I got started was I'm actually a businessman at heart. So I've had several businesses. I was 21 years old. I'm now 28. And I was actually the last business I sold to go all in with trading. I was in that business and I met a guy, and he was basically met a guy through a guy, right? So one of my partners was big in that business space as well. He had a guy who wanted to grow his business. So I was helping him, and I could tell he pretty much was like, not feeling indebted, but like, man, like, how can I help my man out? He helped me so much because I wasn't asking for money or anything, just giving advice. So he was like, yeah, he trades. And I'm like, all right, I done heard this stuff before. I heard it all in college and stuff when people are trying to sign people up for that IML, multi-level marketing crap. And one thing about me, I have very strong discernment. So I never got into it. Although I was always interested in stocks and trading and investing, I never got into it because truthfully, I knew too many broke-minded people. And I don't mean broke. I mean broke-minded, like I said. There's too many broke-minded people who don't really have a business, high business IQ or things like that, and they're trying to make money fast, know about something. I know to stay away from it. So around that time, people were trying to, hey, you ever thought about Forex? So I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm cool, right? So when he said that, that was the first thought in my mind. I'm like, oh, okay, you do trading Forex and all this crap. All right, cool, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. Like, we making money right here. At that point, I was making good money. Like, really about that time, like $1,000 a day. So I'm like, I'm cool. Now, that's not after expenses, but still, that's still good money, right? So I'm like, nah, I'm cool. So he like, all right. And one morning, man, it was like 6 in the morning. He texted me like, hey, good morning, bro. Before we get started, I want to show you this. Sent me a video. He's like, I'm up $2,000 on this trade. I said, $2,000. I said, 2,000. I said, bro, we ain't got moving yet. So I'm like, okay. So then we start talking more. And, man, he was like, yeah, like for real. Like, he got this joint, his back then, those prop firms, aka what we call now evaluations, right? He had one with FTMO. He was like, nah, like, for real, I done got paid out all this stuff. So a light bulb went off in my head. I said, yo, this stuff is real. Oh, shoot. Now, a person like myself, I'm an opportunist, right? I look at things all from a business standpoint, mathematical, logical business standpoint. And I'm like, dude, like, okay, if he's making this much money, right? He's making this much money, he ain't left the house. And I know my work ethic and what I'm made of. I don't care what nobody else doing. I know what I'm made of. I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying? So I started looking into it, started studying, started reading the books. And one thing about me is the reason I've had so many successful business endeavors and businesses, I separate them because business endeavors are something to me. If I start and I'm not really like continuing long versus an actual business, I make it to a business. Like, I incorporate it. I'm getting paid, all that good stuff, right? So I have several business endeavors. I've actually had several businesses too. The reason I'm good at them, and in my last business, is a business that costs almost 6 figures to start. I started that business with under $5,000 because of using resources, because of being resourceful, and because of using leverage. So I said, okay, let me make a business decision, man. And I was spending a lot of time away from my wife. I knew we wanted to grow our family. I'm a young guy. I'm 28 years old. So I was like, all right, dude, like, how is this sustainable what I'm doing? And for me, I was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. It's cool for now, but let me get this experience. Let me keep moving. So I said, okay, how do I make trading work? So I started going through all. I was like, you know what? After a lot of research, all that good stuff. I knew how the average person failed. That's always the first thing I look into when I find out anything about a business. How does the average person fail? And, I avoid everything. I look at what they did and didn't do. And, that's how I've become, basically, I've gotten more traction with every business I've done, every business endeavor, all those things. So I was like, all right, man, this is what I'm about to do. So, I won't get all into what I did, you know what I'm saying, to get to this point, because it's not as simple as just me talking, and sharing that in 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's a lot of stuff that I couldn't even begin to articulate in just a video. But I made a decision. I said, yo, I'm going all in. And so, I was working for myself. I had decent, savings stacked up. My wife's still working. I'm like, bet. I parked everything with the business. Decided to go all in, started studying. I literally put the same amount of time I was working on my business into trading. That was my new business in my mind. I'm like, yo, this is my new business. It's going to be my new business. I'm putting in legit 12 hours, 16-hour days. Some days all I did was wake up. My wife would go to work. I'd be up. She'd come back. I'm still on the computer. And because I know it's not about how long you do anything, it's about the repetitions you get in. And most people, that's number one. Take that note if you don't understand. It's not about how long you do it. It's about how many repetitions you put in and how many basically reps you get in the market, right? So I was getting reps every day. I learned how to scout first, and this basically aided, to my next point, right? This was a starting point. That's how I got started. But this is my journey to profitability. So you're going to lose a lot. I already knew I was going to lose money. That's anything you do. So what I did was I said, all right, man, instead of me losing a lot of my cash, my liquid cash, I was using the prop firms because I was like, yo, I'm going to lose regardless. And I know most people, I already knew, they fail because of lack of not be able to have rules, not be able to have structure. Now, yes, most of these evaluation companies don't necessarily, especially back in the day, most of the Forex and the CFD ones, they didn't want people to pass. They was making money, people failing, but they still gave you structure and rules. And if you knew about, again, business, you could take a structure the same way like I built mine off other people's structure. Nothing is new under the sun. So you don't reinvent the wheel. You just take something that's already been done and you do a little bit better. So I took the rules from these evaluation companies, started crafting my own stuff, and I used that to give me a foundation and a structure. Like, it's as simple as that. And so I took that, started learning risk management. I was reading. I focused on psychology before I did anything else too. That's another thing. I wasn't on the technicals because also with business, people love trying to sound smart in life, period. They want to give you every term there is. Oh, Fibonacci retracement. Oh, this is this. RIS indicator. Blah, blah, blah. It does not really matter. At the end of the day, you need to learn one good way to trade. You need to master that way to trade and be able to implement that thing through and through every season, through every market change, through every uptick, through every downtick. No matter what, you need to be able to work that plan. That's all that matters. So I was able to use those rules to give me that edge, right? To give me practice. Now, I blew through a ton of accounts, but what it did was I was like, yo, let me pay for these small ones and get reps in. So instead of me putting $1,000 at a time in my actual personal account and losing the whole thing and blowing accounts, I was blowing the challenges. So I blew maybe 15, 13 challenges, like without passing one, like no exaggeration. But total, 15 times I was buying like the small ones, like $250, and getting a little discount codes, like 50K challenges back then. So I might have spent like 3 bands. But if I had got them same amount of reps in with my personal account, man, I probably would have spent $10,000-$15,000 trying to get that amount of repetitions. And each time I was getting better and better. Like the first one, I think I blew that thing, man. And golly, like, man, bro, I know it was less than a week. Like, blew it, gone, 2-3 days. And so I kept learning. I got comfortable. Also, you need to have money and skin in the game. So I had emotion into it because I paid for the challenge. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to get all those real world kinks out. And I started, the technical was never hard to me for real. Like within 6 months, I was able to really get down to strategy. Then I started learning all the ins and outs, right? Again, I won't go too in depth, but I started learning all the ins and outs. Like just because a strategy works don't mean it works for you. All these other things. Like the guy I learned from, he mainly does 1-to-1s. For me, that don't fit my personality. Like I'm not risking $100 to make $100. To me, it's not even worth it to me because I've made, one, that's not my risk appetite, and two, I've made money in real life, like for real. So I'm not doing this out of desperation. I'm doing this. This has to be a good ROI, return on my investment. So I had to start figuring that stuff out. I had to start like really like finding other ways to trade. I started realizing there's a lot of people who don't know what the hell they talking about for real. Man, just so much stuff out here, dude. And I will say as well, a lot of people look at one person like they're supposed to give them the magic formula. That's not the case, right? The answer, does not come from one person. It's going to come from a basket and a sum of things. So for me, I always believe in mastering the foundation. When you have strong discernment and when you know somebody who's really going out there and getting the results you want, learn what they're doing. Yes, you may not be able to emulate exactly what they're doing, but you can take that and you can build upon it. You know what I'm saying? That could be your foundation, because if they're really doing it, like they're legit, it works. It may not work for you. So I took my man's foundation, slowly started stripping stuff off, putting stuff in, stripping stuff off, putting stuff in, learning from other people. You know, I'm a person, I read a 700-page book on my bookshelf for one page to change my perspective. So I have a saying, I'll read a book for 5% of the information. Most people want to read a book and they want to give them everything. I'm looking like, where's these 10 pages out of this 400 pages that's going to change my life? That's going to help me get to the next level of my life. So I look at the same thing, and I still look at the same thing with trading, because I don't act like I know it all now, because I don't. Just because I'm profitable, I know everything, because I'm looking to get to bigger and bigger levels over time. Took it and got to the point where now I had it down. Then it was like, all right, now how do you get it to fit your life? So again, there's a lot that goes into this, man. So like, it didn't fit my lifestyle at first, man, because like I learned how to scout. I learned how to scout because I need reps. So I was taking 6-7 trades a day. And then I started understanding the point of over trading. And not just the blanket terms people be using, over trading, no, like legit over trading. Like, hey man, there's actually statistics on like, you know, quality versus quantity and taking too many trades and stuff. So all this stuff is like public records, data, psychological studies, all type of things. And so I started learning that. I started backing out. I started realizing like, yo, you can make more money trading less. Started learning how to do that. Started learning higher time frame analysis, and not just looking at like the 5-minute scalp and all these things, and started zooming out. And I had to start finding my ideal area, like, hey, about how much do I want to trade? Because you can trade too much, but you also can trade too little. And most people don't tell you that. So if you trade too little, you can get risky when you trade. You know, so there's a good balance, and it's really more like a thermostat. Is how I describe it when I teach people. You have to find your thermostat for your risk tolerance, your thermostat for how often you're trading, what times of year you want to trade, you know, like all these things, because they're unique to you. That's the only reason trading is really hard. The technicals, I can teach anybody the technicals in 30 days to 6 months, but I cannot teach you psychology that fast. That's something that you have to work on. You have to master yourself. You know, of course, with the help of people and resources, but like you have to master. That's a self journey. And this is the real reason a lot of people fail. Trading is not that daggone hard. Mastering oneself is that hard. Everybody knows they should work out and eat healthy, but how many people do it? Everybody does it in January. How many people still doing that joint in May, June, July, August? You know what I'm saying? So it ain't about what you know. It's about implementation and action and consistency. So it took me a while, and even down to like another one was when I had a good strategy. Me and my wife were on vacation. I'm in a trade. Literally, the trade had a potential to pay for the whole vacation. Now I said potential because I had to cut it early because our ride had came, our Uber, whatnot, and so I had to cut the trade. But I was like, yo, I'm really doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I got it. I'm good now. Like, hey, we done made it. Cool. Like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. This when I was still trading Forex too. And then all of a sudden, man, that's when like, dude, the MT5 had shut down. MT4 came off the App Store. I was using like magic keys and stuff to do risk management. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't want to do all that conversions with pips and lots and all that crap, right? So I was like, all right, I'm using that. So when that came off, they messed with me, calculating my risk. At the same time, simultaneously, man, all the daggone evaluation companies in the Forex space at that time were just like going out of business left and right. And it really threw me for a loop. And at the same time, man, I was making a lot of life transitions. And I was like, yo, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't trade like this. I don't know my next move. You know what I'm saying? And then even also then, I didn't understand that, like, okay, my strategy is profitable. I'm thinking it's universal. I didn't realize, like, yo, on these cross pairs, it's garbage. Or, oh, shoot, it don't even come but damn, there's seasons with this thing. Oh shoot. So yo, I ate up the last couple months, but damn, it slowed down. What the? Oh shoot. And I was like, bro, I gotta figure something out. So I took a step back, man. I stopped trading for a while. Really refined my edge, got like just dialed in, got some more strategies. Started building actual playbooks, started reading, Mike Bellafore's books, all type of stuff, man. And from this point, I had so much experience. This is when it really turned around for me and I started getting profitable consistently, right? I started seeing the market from a different perspective. I started looking at it different than most people looked at it. And I started realizing that trading needed to be boring. Trading was not supposed to be fun. It was not supposed to be exciting. I started looking at it like a real trader, a real investor. Not coming to get a high, not coming to get a thrill, just coming for what it is. What it is what it is. You're right, you're wrong, it is what it is. And you make decisions when the market's closed, not when it's open. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be emotional when the market's open. I started treating like a real professional. I took this, I was like, yo, this is really my new business. Another thing I also did as well is I signed a contract with myself. And so, like, again, I'm an all-in person. So I pretty much made like an NBA contract, like a contract with myself, gave myself an option. I had to commit for at least 2 years. And that too, just saying I couldn't start another business. Like, I'm a guy, like I'll pivot real quick and go do something different. You know what I'm saying? Like, not quit, but I'm saying, like, if I see an opportunity, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take advantage of opportunity. When I told myself, like, yo, you sold this business you were making good money from to make this work for your family, you gotta make it work. And I signed that contract. My name, like, my word is bond. You feel me? When I say something, I mean it. So when I took that oath with myself and I signed that contract, I still got the contract, I emailed it to myself and everything, man. Still got to this day. And I was like, yo, I'm in this, man. I gotta make it work. You know what I mean? It was like a 2-year contract with a 3rd-year option. Just like a sports contract. But from that moment, man, I was like, no matter how hard it got, I made it work. And then I started making money, started passing challenges, got payouts. Like, and I was like, oh shoot. And I had to take time off because of life situations, but it's like riding a bike, you don't lose it. But through all that, like, I was putting reps in, still learning, still back testing. When I got back live, stuff was going good. And then I've just been consistent since then and continue to grow where I'm at now. Because where I'm at now I'm consistent. Now it's like, all right, like, people don't understand there's levels to this stuff. Like, you don't just get consistent and then you making a ton of money. Like, you also have to work yourself up to be at the point where you can risk different levels of money and stuff. So, like, how you react, like, me personally, I'll be honest, anything under like $100 ain't worth my time. Like, $100 risk per trade. Like, if I see a trade, man, I let trades go to losers because it was only $300 and some change. Like, just being honest, I'm like, that's not even enough money for me to be worth my time. Now, that's not saying that's like something good or bad, is what it is, right? But once you realize that, I gotta raise my temperature. I'm risking too small because I'm getting risky with these because I don't value them. You know what I'm saying? Versus if I put $200 on a trade, $250 to go get a 3-1 or 4-1, I'm paying attention now. Like, hey, when they hit my TP, I'm done. I'm not trying to find another higher time. Nah, let me get my money and get out. And then if I'm putting maybe 1,000 on a trade right now, yeah, I'm a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you, like, because I'm like, I ain't trying to lose 1,000 real quick. Although I've put it on there before, it's like, yeah, I'd rather risk a little smaller on this, you know what I'm saying, and have a certain account that I risk bigger on, but not like with all my money in my, like, nah, I'm not doing that with my main trading account. So, all in all, man, like, I got profitable way ahead of the curve. And let me just answer this straight up too, so people know, right? Making money trading is not hard. I started technically making money within the first 6 to 12 months. I was making money. Like, I had my first, had $400 a day for sure. But like this, within the span of 2 or 3 days, I had made like $3,500. But then I also, see, again, I'm real. I'm gonna tell you, that next week I lost $1,800 in one day. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not about just making it. You can make money easy. You can get lucky. It took me, and it's still faster than normal, it took me about a year and a half to get consistently profitable. But even then, like I said, I was refining and still building my playbook. And so, but it took me about a year and a half, but that's because I put in work. So I would say a year and a half, definitely by 2, I was already grooving. But a year and a half, I would say, is a good number for me. But I was putting in 14-hour days, 16-hour days. I was reading books, you know what I mean? Like, lots of books. Like, I was averaging a new book a week. I was studying the things that it actually takes to make money and not just studying to study. marking up charts. I was not learning all the technical. That's one thing about me. For the longest time, it was funny because people be trying to like claim they trade. They would know all this terminology. And I be honest with you, I ain't know what the hell they're talking about. I ain't know how to calculate locks. I use magic keys. Like, I believe in keeping stuff simple. And by the way, I trade futures now, so I'm not trading none of that stuff. But they would know all these terms. I'm like, yo, you can't even pass a evaluation challenge, bro. Like, why you acting like you so good? You know what I'm saying? You suck. Like, just being honest with you, right? But let people talk, they talk. I do my thing in the background where, like, you know, once I know what to focus on to get results. With martial arts, with business, with anything, I know how to get results fast. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got started, man. If you want to know more about it and, you know, want to learn more about trading futures, which I highly encourage everybody, if you trading forex or if you're not, you need to know how to trade futures. Futures is where it's at. It's regulated. That's where the real players play. Your money ain't gonna be gone, ain't gonna disappear with your money. That's where it's at. So all my resources in my description below. If you like making money, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And until next time, man, much love.